So what's going on, guys? Tony here. Well, we started making a video outside and it started raining, so we've had to retreat back inside of Boomer here. And I got me a puppy dog here. He's giving me a lot of lovin's and huggies. Anyway, so we were going to talk about new versus old RVs today. A lot of people ask, should you buy a new RV? A lot of people ask, should you buy a used RV? It really doesn't matter whether you buy a $500,000 coach or you buy a $5,000 coach. It really doesn't matter. They're all going to give you problems. They're all going to give you grief. They're all going to break. They're all going to do this. They're all going to do that. I mean, you could try to keep the best maintenance that you possibly think you can on that motorhome or RV, and things are just going to go wrong. Things are just going to break. It's just the way it is. You got to think about it. Every time you take one of these things down the road, you're twisting and tweaking and bending this thing in all kind of different shapes, and especially when you got hydraulic leveling gear and all that stuff like that. You're pushing and twisting your coach, even with your travel trailers. When you got your stabilizer jacks, you're pushing and twisting this thing, and these things are not designed to. They're designed to flex a little bit. Don't get me wrong, but some of the stresses you put them on, tweaking them and twisting them like that, cold weather, bad weather, hot weather, all these things play big parts of your RV failures. But should you go out and buy a new RV just to try to avoid that? No. A lot of the newer RVs are not built as well as some of these older ones. Boomer here, he's an older coach, but he's got more wood construction and a lot more solid construction than a lot of the newer ones. Now, yeah, when you look at travel trailers and things like that nowadays, a lot of them have the aluminum framing and all that stuff right there, which is good. You stay away from rust. But, with Boomer here, he's got more steel and wood construction. And I like that because, I just think things are built a little bit better that way. Now, is Boomer going to take a big side impact from a semi-truck and drive away? No. You got a little bit of particle board and some insulation there. So no, it's really not going to survive well in that kind of an accident. But whether you got aluminum frame or not, it's not really going to matter either. But back to whether you should buy new. I got a doggy throwing balls around the house. Anyway, but back to whether you should buy a new or used coach. It really is. It's your preference. It's what you want. It's what you can live with. It's what you can afford. And it really comes down to your financial situation. Everybody's different. Everybody, if we were all the same, we'd be a very boring race. That's why everybody's so different. That's what makes everybody interesting and things of that nature. So, everybody's rig kind of fits their personality in most cases that we've come across since we've been full-time. Now, sometimes you see certain people come out of a certain RV. Didn't see that coming, but, it's one of those things. But, like I said, we all are different, and so it really just, your rig really is just what makes you happy, what you can deal with. Some people like to go glamping, and some people just like to camp. Some people just like to go RVing and enjoy the outdoors. It really boils down to what you like, what you want, and that's really all that matters. And if nobody else doesn't like what you got, it doesn't matter. If you're happy with it, you're happy with it. But, it's all preference. That's all it is with RVing. Now, I will say, when we actually transitioned from stick and brick into Boomer, what we did was we found the biggest RV that we could afford, that we could pay cash for. That's what we done. Now, after living in Boomer for the past, 7 months now, going on 7 months that we've been full-time, there's some things about Boomer that doesn't quite flow as well as we thought they would initially when we got here. Now, we've learned after being out here that we could probably actually go with something smaller. And we probably will do that sometime in the future. Don't know when, but, are we ready for van life? Oh, no. Hell no. We ain't ready for van life. We can't be stuffing us both in a van. Not at this juncture in our full-time career. But, buying new, yeah, it's shiny. That's really all it is. Buying new is shiny. And you might be the talk of the RV park for the first week or so. Look at that big fancy coach over there. But, you got to keep in mind, the person who went and bought that big fancy motor coach over there, that big fancy fifth wheel, big fancy travel trailer there, unless they're independently wealthy, there's a big fat payment book that comes along with that. So that also leads me to this other aspect of being, you finding a good roadworthy coach or a good roadworthy travel trailer, fifth wheel, and got good bones, things that might need a little bit of, repair, things to that nature. Those are not bad rigs. If you can afford to go into that a little cheaper and save some money, that will also, depending on your travel, how you like to travel. If you like to travel more, it'd be nice not having that astronomical payment that sometimes is attached, or that 30-year fixed payment on, 30 years on a fifth wheel trailer, just like a house. I've seen some of the loans go out like that on these RVs and motorhomes. Yeah, it sounds good. It's $150 a month. That's 30 years of $150 a month. Or, $400 a month, $500 a month for 30 years. It just depends on how big of a coach and how much money you went and got into deep when you bought. So, buying new, it suits some. I would rather buy something used because, one, you don't take that big value drop and depreciation as soon as you take it off the lot. So, it makes more sense to us to buy something used. And a lot of times after you buy something used, half the problems have been fixed. Not all the problems you're ever going to have. There's going to be problems, like I said, that's going to pop up. It doesn't matter what kind of, if you got a $5,000 coach or a $500,000 coach, it's going to happen. Shit's going to break. But, it's what you can deal with. So, you don't need to go buy a new one. And people shouldn't push you into go buy a new one just so you should have the newest of everything on the block. Because you know what? If yours is paid for and you're happy with it, why get the payment? Because the other person could come on hardship and they can just come and take it. So you got to keep that in kind of mind too, that, they might have the fancy rig at the moment, but what happens in 2 months when something happens that they are unable to financially pay for that? Because unless you have a great job that you are, pretty secure with, and that you're able to work remotely, and there's no potential that you're ever going to lose that job, I would say try to stay away from big astronomical payments, especially if you want to live the RV lifestyle. Because like I said, when you do repairs, sometimes they can get quite costly, especially if you don't do them yourself. Now, even with having a job that you don't think you're going to get fired from, well, I'll tell you right now, this ain't the 50s and 60s. Companies are not loyal to employees anymore. That's why, there's so many more people who's looking into this nomadic lifestyle or choosing to live differently and travel around and work different places. That's because there is no real loyalty to employees anymore. That's how I feel about it. A lot of you guys are probably going to disagree with me out there. But, it's just the way it is, and that's the way I see it. But, so to me, it makes sense to, if you can afford to pay for your rig up front and have it paid off before you take off on this nomadic lifestyle, that's even better. Because you're not spending so much extra money paying for, the payment to the bank on your RV. Now, would it be nice to have a new RV? Probably, until everything starts falling apart. I was talking to a gentleman here in the RV park where we're at. He said he's got a 2017 and it's already been leaking several times. Been back for repair work and everything else, and it's still having problems. He ended up having to bring it back and repair it himself to get the water leak to go away. Now, unfortunately, I think he said it was a 2017 model tow behind. That is so ridiculous. Just like some friends of ours back in Ohio, they had bought a brand new one and it had all kind of problems. Their refrigerator didn't work. Just the fit and finish was falling apart. The dinette was falling apart. I can't remember exactly what all else was falling apart in this, but this was a brand new trailer. Never titled, never prepped or anything before they got a hold of it. It just fell apart. So, like I said, you can spend all kind of money and still end up with a piece of crap. Or you can spend a little bit of money and put a little bit of elbow grease in it and make it what you want and have a better RV than the person who spent $285,000. So it's really anybody's ball game as far as what RV you should choose. Just because Joe Bob up the street's got a big brand new coach and it's fancy doesn't mean yours is not as nice. If such and such down the street's got a coach, and just because theirs is, well kept and, everything works great on theirs and they haven't had any problems, they've been lucky up to this point. You know, don't just base that on your decision to go out and buy one, because you know what? You can go out and buy an identical looking rig, an identical layout, but the previous owner didn't take good care of it, or things weren't taken and addressed, you know, in a timely fashion. You're going to end up with a lemon, or you're going to end up with a piece of crap, and you're not going to be happy about RVing. You know, RVing out here has got its own set of rules. It really does when you're full-time. It has got its own set of rules. And you got to kind of have a little bit of thick skin and be willing to roll with some of the punches, because I'm going to tell you, you're going to get punched quite a few times. When you think everything's all hunky-dory, something's going to punch you right in the gut. Now, some people don't always agree with that, but we live in the rule that things go wrong, and they're going to go wrong. Just be prepared and try to do your best to deal with it at the moment. Now, like I said, that doesn't matter whether we've had brand new or used. We'll go ahead and talk about it. Harley Davidson. I bought a brand new Street Glide, and I got it home, and I think it spent biggest part of the whole riding season in Ohio back at Harley getting worked on. It wasn't always the same thing. It had an oil leak at one point. It had a transmission problem at another point. And this is a brand new $30,000 motorcycle off the showroom floor. Just goes to show you, sometimes you get a hold of something that ain't worth crap. Just a piece of poop. But, you know, all the bugs are worked out of that now. But see, it took a long time. And a lot of the things that actually got fixed wasn't done through Harley. Until it's done right, was not done through Harley Warranties Department or Harley Shop. It was things that I repaired myself to make sure they didn't do it again. So it's the same thing with RV. So you really just make your decision. Don't let nobody else push you, is what I'm telling you. Don't let nobody else push you into buying something more expensive or well beyond your means just so you can think you're cool at the RV park. So used is really not a bad way to go, in my opinion. Now, everybody's probably going to disagree with me out there and think you have to have the newest of everything. Well, if you can do that, good for you. It's not that we couldn't probably go out and buy a brand new one. Why? I paid half of what I would pay for a brand new coach for a Boomer. So we could have spent a lot of money, a hell of a lot more money than what we spent right now for a Boomer, on a coach that doesn't have as many amenities as what we have now. We went a little older. We spent, you know, a good chunk of money for Boomer, but Boomer's got more amenities than a lot of these other coaches that we were seeing that were more money just because they were a couple years newer. They had more miles than Boomer. They weren't as well maintained as Boomer, and they all had some sort of water leak issue that we could find. And they still wanted 2 and 3 and sometimes 4 times as much money as what we've actually paid for Boomer. So keep that in mind. Just because it's new or newer does not always mean it's better. I mean, you just really got to do your research. Look your coach over. If nothing else, if you're not real mechanically inclined, if you're not real, you know, repair savvy, take someone with you who knows something about carpentry, something about mechanics, something about electronics. You know, if you have a mechanic friend, take them to have them look over your motor and transmission. Take them, you know, take your carpenter friend in and have them take a look and see if anything structurally is wrong with the house, because essentially it's a house. That goes for travel trailers and motorhomes and fifth wheels, because they're all on a moving chassis. So mechanics good for all your wheel bearings, brakes, frame issues, and things like that. And then your carpenter friends can help you with all the stuff that's, you know, built around that metal structure. It's your choice. Take somebody with you, have them look it over with you. Make sure it's all, you know, up to snuff before you actually throw any money down. But as far as new's better than used, no, it's not. Not in my opinion. So guys, I hope this helped a little bit on maybe expanding your horizon to look into some used instead of new. If you want to try to get into living full-time on a little bit more modest budget. If you're good with your hands, modest budget's always a good thing. If any of you guys out there have any things that I did not touch base on in this little video here, please leave it in the comments. Help somebody else out. You know, there's other people out there who are novices to this. There's some people who are intermediate to being RVers. And there's some of you guys out there are just full-blown pros. You guys been doing this all your life. It'd be nice to hear from all aspects, all levels of RVing. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so. If you haven't been over to rollingwiththebones.com, come over and check it out. Also, come over and like us on Facebook and over on Instagram. This is Tony, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.